Welcome back to the deep dive. Today we're really getting into something symbolic. Fire, victory. We've gathered some fascinating sources on the spiritual science behind Dussehra, or Vijayadashami, as it's also known. And our mission, well, it's pretty clear. Look beyond the fireworks, past the big effigies burning. We want to understand the actual philosophy fueling those flames.
Yeah, it's powerful imagery, isn't it? You see that huge figure of Ravana just whoosh, turning to ash, skyrockets. It's easy to get caught up in the spectacle. But the material we looked at flips that script almost immediately. It poses this really direct, quite personal question.
Which is?
Have you actually set fire to the Ravana within you?
Okay, that hits differently. Straight away, we're shifting from like a historical festival to something deeply internal. I mean, the celebration itself, we know it comes from the Ramayana. Lord Rama defeated the demon king Ravana, happens on the 10th day after Navratri. But you're saying the why is the real core here.
Absolutely. The story, the victory, it serves as this, eternal reminder. The biggest battle you'll ever fight, it's not out there. It's right here, within the battlefield of your own heart, your own mind. And the principle that ties it all together, no matter where you are or the specific story told, it's beautifully captured in Sanskrit. Yato dharma tato jaya.
Where there is dharma, there is victory.
Exactly.
And dharma.
Yeah.
It's not just some vague goodness, is it? It's cosmic order. It's your duty, living truthfully. That's a powerful foundation.
It really is. And what's striking is how this theme good, overcoming evil, order restored, is so universal across different celebrations. In North India, sure, you have the big Ravana effigies burning during the Ram Leela plays, very dramatic. But head south, and on the very same day, they're celebrating goddess Chamundashwari defeating the demon Mahishasura.
Oh, different demon, same core idea.
Precisely. And then in Eastern India, it's the culmination of Durga Puja, a huge festival. It marks goddess Durga conquering Mahishasura, again, the buffalo demon.
So, okay, different names, different demonic figures, but the spiritual takeaway is unified. It's about destroying adharma, unrighteousness, chaos.
Yes, and restoring dharma, that sense of cosmic balance and duty.
And you mentioned the timing, this victory. Vijayadashami, the 10th day of victory, it deliberately follows the 9 nights of Navratri.
Crucial point. Those 9 nights are all about invoking the Divine Mother's energy, her Shakti. It underlines that the strength, the spiritual power needed for this inner and outer conquest, it needs to be cultivated, and it's often empowered by that divine feminine energy.
So if Shakti is the power source, what exactly are we conquering? That brings us to Ravana himself, and the sources make it clear he wasn't just some mindless monster. He was learned, a Vedic scholar, apparently a master musician, devout in his own way.
That's what makes the story so compelling, spiritually speaking. He had immense intelligence, immense power. His downfall wasn't ignorance. It was knowledge corrupted. Corrupted by, unchecked desires, but critically, by his towering arrogance. His ahankara. Exactly. He's almost a warning sign, The danger of incredible talent or intellect when it's not anchored in humility and dharma.
Okay, this is where it gets really, really practical for us, isn't it? His 10 heads, that's the metaphor the sources use for the inner Ravana. These 10 forces inside us that we need to symbolically burn. It's kind of a daunting list.
It is, but we can maybe group them to make it clearer. Think about forces related to passion, then attachment, then the ego itself. So in that first category, passion, immediate urges, you've got kama, that's lust, but broader than just physical desire.
Right, like any overwhelming craving for stuff, for sensation, anything that makes you feel enslaved to needing it now.
Exactly. And alongside kama, you have krodha, anger, that reactive fire that just burns indiscriminately.
Okay, passion covered. What's next?
Attachment. Forces related to clinging or feeling like you lack something. That brings in lobha, which is greed. Wanting more than you need, that constant accumulation drive. And maybe even more subtle, moha, delusion or attachment. This is when you can't see clearly because you're so desperately clinging to a person, an idea, even a possession.
And moha feels particularly sneaky. It's that voice saying, I need this to be happy, right? Even when it's trapping you.
It's a powerful form of spiritual bondage, definitely. Okay, that's 4. Still got 6 heads on this inner Ravana.
Let me guess, these are more about the ego.
You got it. These often feed the others. So moda, that's pride, thinking you're better than others. Then matsarya, jealousy or envy, that bitterness when you see someone else succeed.
Ugh, matsarya, that corrosive feeling.
It really is. And then the big one, ahankara. Pure ego, that fundamental sense of I, me, mine, that separates you from everything, that resists growth or admitting fault.
It's that internal resistance, isn't it? The part that digs its heels in.
Absolutely. And from these ego-driven states, you get the fallout. Dvesha, which is hatred, and Paya, fear, often fear of losing what the ego is clinging on to. And finally, Irsha, resentment. That slow-burning poison you carry around.
Wow. 10 heads. That's a lot to confront. So the external fire burning the effigy is really a symbol, a public declaration of intent to tackle these inner demons.
Precisely. It connects directly to what we find in other core texts, like the Bhagavad Gita. Remember that line, chapter 6?
Something about the mind being your friend or enemy.
That's the one. Elevate yourself through the power of your own mind. The self can be both your friend and your enemy. Dussehra is about choosing to make the self your friend by conquering these negative forces. That's the real war.
So if the real battle is internal, why the elaborate story? Why the Ramayana?
Because stories resonate. The Ramayana isn't just itihasa history, it's presented as this timeless mirror reflecting our own human journey, a kind of spiritual blueprint you can map onto your own life.
Okay, so if we map it, who are the players inside us?
Good question. Rama, the hero who embodies Dharma, represents your higher self, your conscience, your pure awareness. Sita, his beloved who gets abducted, she represents the soul, your innate purity and connection to the divine. And Ravana, the 10-headed king, he's the ego. The force that kidnaps the soul, holds it captive on the island of the mind, surrounded by those 10 negative forces.
So when Sita, the soul, is abducted by Ravana, the ego, does that mean our soul becomes bad? Or just lost?
Great clarification. No, the soul itself remains pure, divine, but its connection to Rama, the higher self, gets obscured. It's trapped, essentially deafened by the noise of those 10 inner enemies, which is where Hanuman comes in.
A bridge.
Exactly. Hanuman, the epitome of devotion and service, represents that unwavering faith, the discipline needed to build the bridge, cross the ocean of delusion, and reconnect the soul, Sita, with the higher self, Rama. Vijayadashami celebrates that moment of reunion, of liberation.
That framework really puts the lessons into perspective. Rama's victory, then, isn't just about winning. It's about how he won. Patience, sticking to Dharma, even when it was incredibly hard.
Yes, it teaches that righteous effort, even if it takes years, ultimately bears fruit. It's a promise that Dharma wins.
And bringing in the goddesses Durga, Chamundeshwari, their victories emphasize that Shakti, that feminine power, courage, resilience, but also grace in the midst of chaos.
Absolutely. And think about the end of Durga Puja. The idols are immersed, returned to the elements. It symbolizes surrender. True devotion involves letting go of the outcome, trusting the process, trusting the divine.
Okay, so it's not just about fighting, but fighting righteously and trusting the divine flow. Which leads us perfectly to the practical side. How do we actually do this? How do we make this ancient wisdom work today? I guess the question for everyone listening is, which of those 10 heads is strongest in me right now?
And the sources don't just leave you hanging with philosophy. They give concrete practices, realistic things you can do. First one, self-inquiry and journaling. Don't just vaguely think about your flaws. Pick one. Maybe it's impatience. Maybe it's that envy you feel.
Okay, identify one specific weakness. Then what?
Write it down. Make it real, tangible. Put it on a piece of paper. Then, you symbolically burn that note. Just like the effigy, it's a physical act of release, a psychological and spiritual way of saying, I'm consciously letting this go.
I like that. It's active. Taking responsibility and doing something concrete.
Exactly. It's not passive wishing. Second practice, meditation on light. You're constantly dealing with inner darkness, fear, anger, jealousy. So the practice is to visualize a bright, pure flame within your heart, your inner light. And you actively imagine that flame growing, consuming any negativity that pops up, purifying your inner space.
So actively working against the Nirvana's influence.
Right. And the third one may be the most outward-facing, service, seva. If your big inner struggle is with, say, dvesha, hatred, or irsha, resentment, you consciously counter it. Go perform one deliberate act of kindness for someone. It's compassion in action. You're replacing that negative loop with a positive, generous one.
These are very grounded practices. Beyond those, though, the actual rituals on Dussehra Day also hold meaning, don't they? Like Ayudha Puja, worshipping tools.
Yes. It's beautiful, really. People clean and decorate their instruments, their vehicles, computers, kitchen knives, anything that helps them live, work, create. The significance is profound. It's about seeing the divine in the everyday things that support your life and your dharma. Your laptop isn't just a machine, it's a tool enabling your purpose, honoring that.
That brings a sacredness to the mundane. I like that. And then there's Vidyantam, initiation into learning.
Mm-hmm. Often for young children, introducing them to writing their first letters. It symbolizes that wisdom, knowledge, is the ultimate victory. Once the mind has started conquering those inner demons, it's free to pursue learning without the distortion of ego.
Makes sense. Clear the clutter, then fill the space with wisdom.
And we can't forget sound, chanting. Reciting the Rama mantra or the Hanuman Chalisa, the verses praising Hanuman, these are recommended specifically for building strength, devotion, courage, the very qualities needed to face down the ego and connect with your higher self.
Okay, so pulling all these threads together, the myths, the philosophy, the practical steps, what's the big takeaway? What should we really hold on to from this deep dive?
I think the ultimate goal is realizing that those flames, whether real or symbolic, represent a universal need for purification. Yes, it's about burning corruption and injustice in the world, the collective consciousness. But first and foremost, it's about burning it in your individual consciousness. Dussehra isn't just one day. It's a reminder of the ongoing daily commitment to self-purification.
And maybe find some comfort in that line from Tulsidas' Ramcharitmanas, as you mentioned earlier. He in whose remembrance all obstacles fall away, that merciful one is Rama. Remembering that higher self we're aiming for.
That's the guiding light, absolutely. But here's the final, maybe provocative thought the sources leave us with, a crucial distinction. The real Vijayadashami, the true day of victory, doesn't happen when some effigy falls down in a field somewhere. It happens the moment you awaken to your own inner divinity, the Rama within, and commit to burning away the inner Ravana. The outer one might burn today, sure, but the one inside? That's a fire we have to tend every single day. That's the real lasting victory.